Texas. Police now desperately searching for this mystery woman. Surveillance video showing her ringing a doorbell in the middle of the night, partially dressed with what appears to be broken restraints on both of her wrists. Other people in the Montgomery County, Texas community say their doorbells were also wrong. Police say the woman doesn't seem to match any missing persons reports. They're reviewing surveillance footage as they work to identify her. Wow. A mother in the U.S. accused of helping ISIS. Samantha El-Hassini from Indiana is accused of helping arm and fund the terrorists and lying to the FBI. Her attorney claims she was tricked by her husband to move to Syria in 2014. He was reportedly killed in a drone strike last year. She is expected to face trial on September 17th.
Well, it could take years to learn details about the special counsel's Russia investigation, and it's all because of a decades-old murder case, if you can believe it. Professor Jesus Galindez was believed to be killed after going missing in 1956. An attorney is now looking into that case and asking an appeals court judge to release grand jury testimony. That information is typically kept secret. If the court decides not to release the testimony, it could set a precedent for the Mueller case. Evidence presented to the grand jury could be kept under wraps from the public in that case. Wouldn't that be something? Senator Lindsey Graham opening up about the death of his longtime friend, Senator John McCain, the South Carolina Republican vowing to pay tribute to his mentor.
I wish we'd had more time, but it is what it is. They fought, and so we're going to look forward. We're going to give him the send-off he deserves.
Yes.
I have cried a lot, and I am going to try to get over it. And I'm going to speak tomorrow in the Senate. His death is right by mine, and I hope I don't crack up.
Well, Graham praised McCain for his, quote, romantic view of this country and says he is better off for having known him. A crowded field of 5 Democratic candidates scrambling to win over voters in today's gubernatorial primary in the state of Florida. Ali Rafa has more on the battle for former Governor Rick Scott's job.
This is a premier race, one of the top 3 races in the whole country, and I think the Democratic primary election will be very close.
Former Congresswoman Gwen Graham has held a steady lead over former Miami Beach Mayor Philip Levine, Palm Beach billionaire Jeff Green, Tallahassee Mayor Andrew Gillum, and Orlando businessman Chris King.
Each of them has to try to carve out the winning percent, which could be very low. You might secure the nomination with, 30-some% of voters.
Fellow frontrunner Levine's outspokenness against President Trump and ability to self-fund his campaign has made him a close second to Graham, who campaigns on her role as a mother and relies on her reputation as daughter to former Florida Senator and Governor Bob Graham. But Democratic strategist Jim Davis says change is needed in the swing state that hasn't seen a Democrat win the governor's mansion since 1994.
I happen to think that this is a year where being a woman candidate is an advantage.
You can't win with your own party alone. The attention has to be, how can I reach the 28% of Floridians who aren't registered as a Democrat or Republican?
The Democratic nominee will face off against either of the 2 Republican candidates, Adam Putnam and Trump-backed Ron DeSantis, in November. In Tampa, Florida, Ali Rafa, Fox News.
In just a few hours, polls will open in Florida, and one candidate on today's ballot is standing out for sticking to his guns on Second Amendment rights. That candidate, State Representative Matt Caldwell, is running to become the state's next agriculture commissioner, and he joins me live. Thank you for your time this morning. So why do you think that running in this way will help the GOP, and you specifically?
Well, absolutely. And, first of all, you've got a state where nearly 2 million of our residents are concealed weapon permit holders. It's a constitutional right that they hold dear. And also, you look at Florida, we have a huge population of veterans, people that are comfortable with firearms and understand them and value them. I mean, honestly, this is a fundamental American value. It's a fundamental Floridian value. I've been on the campaign trail now for a year and a half, almost 90,000 miles we've traveled around the state, and I can vouch for it. As I've talked to voters, they feel very strongly about their constitutional rights, their right to free speech, their right to worship as they please, and their right to self-defense. And they want to see candidates that are going to stand up and defend that right every single day.
And as you mentioned, nearly 2 million concealed carry permit holders in Florida. But you also look at the last couple of years in Florida and a lot of shootings, to name a couple: Jacksonville just a couple of days ago, Parkland, Orlando. There are a lot of people that over the last couple of years are living a life where they're a little bit more afraid afraid right now, where they just don't know how they feel about guns. How do you get them? How do you win them over?
Well, these are serious issues, and we need to take them seriously for what they are. You look again in Jacksonville, another tragedy, but two commonalities. You have an individual who was suffering from mental illness, and you have a place that was tagged a gun-free zone where no one was allowed to defend themselves or protect themselves. And when you look over and over and over again, it was the same pattern in Parkland. You have individuals that have diagnosed serious mental illness problems. We need to address that, and then we need to get honest with ourselves. You look around this country, when you have tragedies like this, they almost to 100%, happen in these tagged gun-free zones where you tell people that have malicious intent that no one here can defend themselves. And so, there are those who are going to look at it and say, well, the gun's the commonality. That's just unfair. When a Muslim terrorist attacks somewhere in the world, we all understand not all Muslims are to blame, and that's what you hear from the left particularly, that we need to be thoughtful and understanding. I just don't understand why the reaction is when a person who's diagnosed mentally ill uses a gun to commit a crime, all gun owners suddenly have to be the ones that are blamed and victimized, particularly when this is a fundamental constitutional right that we hold dear.
So if you are elected to this role, what do you want to accomplish?
Well, it is an enormous responsibility. Agriculture Commissioner in Florida not only oversees the most diverse ag profile in the nation, but all the blue-collar jobs, oil changes and gas pumps and security guards, amusement parks. It's very critical that you have somebody that's going to focus on small business. We're also a growing state with some of the great opportunities, but also challenges that come with that. So water policy, particularly those that have followed the challenges we have on water quality, that's been my passion for the last 8 years in the House, and you're going to see that be a high priority while we're there in this office.
We will be watching to see how this plays out. Matt Caldwell, thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
36 minutes after the hour, it's been the left's rallying cry for months now.
Get rid of it, start over, reimagine it. We can replace it, and we can replace it with a humane agency.
But it turns out their voters don't agree with the abolish ICE message. Some new poll numbers just released.
And NFL star on and off the field, Jacksonville Jaguars Blake Bortles delivers meals to officers working the game tournament shooting. That's not all he did, though. We're going to tell you about it.
You and me, ain't that America?